So you have kind of, you've moved out here to LA, you're starting some fellowships, and then so you actually started a new project. I just found this on your website. It says, I'm beginning a new project situated in feminist posthumanism. The project asks, what are the computational processes scientists have used since the 1950s to configure software and hardware, assemblages that are shifting traditionally perceived thresholds of liveliness, to find novel forms of life beyond Earth. So I guess now that you've kind of not moved on from SETI and stuff, because I'm assuming you probably have a close ear to the pavement with all this, but what's kind of next? What's up next for you?
Yeah, so that second project is very aspirational because I'm working on turning my dissertation into a book now. Okay. But the second project in feminist posthumanism is kind of I guess it's like an area of scholarship that seeks to understand how what we call the ontological character of the human is kind of being further destabilized by non-human entities like animals and computers. So,
okay.
Yeah. So honestly, sure. Since getting a dog, I've been thinking about animals a lot. And in this moment where AI is really shaping our world, I'm really interested in kind of the phenomenology, which just means kind of the experience of perception, mm-hmm. how we perceive our world, how non-human ways of sensing and perceiving are brought to bear on kind of how we see ourselves as humans, mm-hmm. How we're entangled with all kinds of non-human others, like, puppies or your gut microbes or sure. or just these entities in the world that are making us realize more and more that we're not the center of the universe. And
bees. Save the bees.
Save the bees. Yeah. Save the whales. Save the bees. Yeah. So non-human modes of sensing and perceiving, including maybe a self-aware AI system. That's kind of my second project. What kind of started this is actually something that MIT Tech, the magazine, reported on. It's called the Animal AI Olympics, and it pits computer system avatars. Like if you imagine a video game and you're controlling like a mouse or something, mm-hmm. doing logic tasks that are like you compete against kind of animals. So mm-hmm. there's like some kind of, I think it's like an orangutan solving a logic puzzle to like get a piece of food. Can you build machine learning programs to like do that faster?
Oh yeah. Sure.
So I just think that this idea of kind of humans, animals, and machines, how these three entities are being reworked together in this moment.
That's very interesting. Mm-hmm. I mean, because there's a lot of degrees of ways you can take it. For me, I'm already thinking about like anthropomorphizing, you mm-hmm. know what I mean, and stuff, yeah. and how that comes, even reflexivity back, and how right. we even see what they are capable of doing just by what we are biased on. So
yeah, do robots need to look like humans? Right.
Exactly.
Yes. If you like brain implants, how does that change? Like that, how does that form what we call cyborgs, like cyborgian mashups of humans and machines?
Sure.
So, and how so much of our lives now are informed by self-tracking data. How many steps did I take? Like, what is my oxygen level? Yep. Like, having a hearing aid. Those kinds of technological devices that kind of get mixed in with kind of the fleshiness of being a human. Mm-hmm. How are those phenomena reshaping what it means to be human? So that's kind of the area that posthumanism is, and I'm really interested in it.
And then, but it's also not just posthumanism; it has a feminist overlay on it, like specifically, mm-hmm. as you say, like because we're past Me Too and all this stuff. Like it's a new world, if you will, and there's a lot of feminist and queer ideology and things like that are now coming into the mainstream, if you will.
Yeah. So I think queer is this capacious term that kind of just refers to any kind of mode or movement that subverts kind of like a dominant ideology. So like cyborgs, I would say, are like inherently queer, and I'm interested in feminist theories of the body, like how are cyborgian mashups reforming human bodies, especially what we think of as women's bodies. And yeah, so like for instance, I mean, a good example of how feminist theory can apply to posthumanism and kind of thinking about AI is why is Siri gendered? Why is her voice gendered as female, right?
Or even
as a woman.
mild-mannered. Like, why isn't she your like Italian grandmother like yelling at you?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Or something, you know, or like some kid who doesn't talk. Like, obviously, again, there's that range. You know?
Yeah, and so as a feminist theorist, I'm interested in kind of analyzing technology from the perspective of kind of systems of gender, systems of race, systems of bias, like narratives about that. So yeah, that's
awesome.
That's my new project.
That's your new stuff.
That's my new stuff.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, okay. So last question, and this is what I ask everyone. Basically, and this is kind of to not exactly throw you off, but makes you kind of think. And we've touched on a lot of this, so don't freak out. Or it's basically if you were kind of say up at the ISS and they had a video feed, and you're experiencing the overview effect, but then that video feed is literally just going to everyone in the world. Do you have anything that you would say? Like, do you have, it doesn't have to be like what is it that Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, be kind or, but it's like, is there one thing that you like just feel very called to? Is it the SETI stuff? Is it the postmodern? Or is it nothing? We've had people that said, well, I just, not really say anything. So I don't know if you experiencing the overview effect would be anything for you to talk of, but if not just that, then is there any words of wisdom or last things, parting stuff? It's more for you to say.
Yeah, well, so that they read didn't they read like Genesis or something in the first overview? I would not do that. I'd probably read a poem by, I don't know, Sappho or Rilke. That's what I would do.
Okay.